See if he's there. Coach?
How we doing?
Hey, good. How are you, my friend?
Very good, thank you.
Coach, I know you're a dedicated runner. Do you run in the rain?
Ooh, good question.
Treadmill this time of year.
Treadmill.
Like every single day, I'm like, what's a 50-degree day? You're like, oh, it's kind of nice out. Maybe I dabble.
Yep, outside for sure.
Okay, good.
But you knock it out right when you get up?
I try to, when I go outside, I try to wait for it to get light out, just when it, it starts to get light, just for safety reasons on the road.
Right, don't want to be a road pizza.
On the treadmill, are you a flat guy or an incline guy?
Flat.
Full on flat.
I think if
smart.
you really run fast, you got to be flat.
Yeah, it's probably smart.
I mean, incline, it's going to mess your shins up.
Yeah.
It's going to really.
Some people do it at 1 degree.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, you burn a little more
He's
calories.
flat. So, Coach, Carly, it's been a rock for the Caps. He pots the game winner with under a minute to go in the win over the Kings. He leads the team in assists.
Was
with
that the
20.
bomb from afar that won that game winner?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Coach can correct me if I'm wrong. Leads the Caps in assists with 20. It's kind of weird for me to see him leading that category. Anybody other than Nick Backstrom leading it. But he leads. So Captain America, John Carlson, getting it done at 33 tender years of age. Good for him.
Yeah, and it's been good to see him get rewarded production-wise, because he's been a rock for us all year, playing huge minutes, every situation. And for a long stretch there, he sort of it wasn't going in for him, whether it was goals or assists. Like it just seemed like he it wasn't falling his way, and sometimes that happens, especially for defensemen, for a certain period of time. But now to see him being rewarded offensively, gets a big goal on the power play the other night, big shot up top, and then the game winner, picking up some points along the way. And it helps those guys when they get rewarded production-wise, because it's no secret, like they want to, do well offensively and put up some decent numbers. So it's good to see him get rewarded.
So in that same Kings game, you see some pretty immediate dividends when you shuffle your top line at basically the midpoint of that game. You rolled out an Ovi, Stromer, and Pacioretty line, pays off with a goal by Strome to even that game at 2.
Yeah, just sort of went on a hunch there and felt like we needed to change the mix up a little bit. And fortunately, they scored right away on their first shift together, so we just stayed with that for the rest of the game. And I thought they were effective. Patch was better again, and you could see his presence/impact on the game as it moved along, and was winning a ton of pucks down low in the offensive zone, forecheck pucks. And so that line had some chemistry. We'll see if we go with it moving forward. If we get Osh back, it might change our sort of mix a little bit, so we'll take a peek at that.
So Patch's speech after that Kings win in the locker room, you could tell that dude is thankful to be back on the ice after some real adversity, dealing with not one but 2 Achilles injuries that have kept him off the ice for most of the last 2 seasons. You could tell the guys in the locker room were paying attention to that speech. Yeah,
and it's you don't. I mean, okay, so you go through injuries and you rehab and you think, it's probably long, but when you actually think about what he's gone through from a rehab and the thousands of hours that he's put in every day without what the hard thing about injuries, especially when you have them back to back like Patch, is it's the light at the end of the tunnel. Like those are significant injuries where you miss so much time, so you're just sitting there rehabbing and saying, okay, I'm going to play in 6 months. Like the end goal is so far, and so he's had a lot of time to reflect and think about his career as 35-year-old, or and it's just, you could see the emotion and how much it meant to him back playing in the National Hockey League, and not taking a second of it for granted.
Coach Carbery, we have Dylan Strome on the show every week, and I know the All-Star Game is coming up. The fan vote, should Dylan Strome be an All-Star?
I think so. I think he's got as good an argument as anybody. I know everybody's kind of biased to their hometown players, but for me, the way that I look at it is Stromer, if you stack him up point production-wise against the rest of the league and you go down who hasn't been named an All-Star, you're going to go by him for sure. But what I think is important to take into account is if you look at him in relation to our team and percentage of goals he scored, we don't score a lot of goals. So it's not really fair to stack him up against Willie Nylander from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Like it's not a fair comparison based on the production. And so I just think what Stromer's done this year for our team and the production and the goals and the big goals that he scored, he's as deserving as anyone to be an all-star with the impact that he's had on our team. And it's also, you know, we're sitting pretty good. Like, we've had a good start to the year and we've won some games. So I think that speaks to it as well, of Stromer's impact in a positive way in the league.
So, Coach, good news yesterday. Charlie Lindgren activated from the IR. He's been out since late December, since December 29th. And that guy's numbers, they just jump out at you. Goals against, 2.27, fifth in the league. Save percentage at 9.28, third in the league. He's already got 2 shutouts. He's 7-3-3. So that had to be welcome news that he's going to be back in the mix. And you take a little bit off of Kemps's plate and get Lindgren back in net.
Yeah, that's big for us, and to get him back into the mix and dressing for games, and hopefully he just sort of hits the ground running with playing the way that he was before the injury. And so I think it gives us that, you know, what we've envisioned all year, and it's been there for, you know, short spurts, but with both guys getting a little bit nicked up, I feel like we haven't had a long stretch of both guys being available and playing at a high level. Kemps did a great job the other night, so there's he's feeling good about his game, and we'll get Chucky up and running, and hopefully we can get both those guys playing at a real high level.
Coach, not on this team right now. You guys drafted Ryan Leonard with the number 8 pick. He was playing in the World Juniors where the USA beat Sweden for the gold medal. How much do you monitor those guys, and when would fans expect Ryan Leonard and Ryan Chesley and these prospects to be on the scene here in Washington?
Yeah, we followed it pretty closely, watched the games, and sort of followed those guys, and it was a pretty impressive run that TUSA went on, and those guys having a pretty large impact too. Like, you always, you know, just making the team is phenomenal for young prospects inside your organization. Then playing games is another notch, and then when you're playing in those games against the best kids of your age in the world, and now you're having a impact, whether it's you know, playing big minutes or producing offensively or in a checking role, and both those guys played significant roles on a gold medal team, which was great to see. As far as timing in that, I stay out of that and leave that to Brian McClellan, but you know, hopefully when they're ready and they are want to join the organization and all that stuff works out, we'll be happy to have them.
Coach, I brought my wife and daughters to the game on Friday night against Carolina, and you guys obviously got up to yeah. Well, you guys got up to a great start. It's 2-0. I think Stromer scored in that game too.
Mm-hmm. From Ovi.
From
right?
Ovi, yeah.
And it was a great pass.
And you know, it was kind of a late arriving crowd, but it got kind of crowded, and there was a lot of energy. And then you know, for a Friday night, and then all of a sudden the wheels fell
apart.
And then on Sunday you play an afternoon game, you know, battling the NFL, and you guys win that game against a good team, against the Kings. So kind of just talk about the difference that you saw from the team in the, you know, second and third periods of the Carolina game versus what you saw Sunday against a good team just a couple days later.
Yeah, I thought those were probably two ends of the spectrum for us, and I thought it was a really important response on Sunday and a good blueprint for what it has to look like consistently moving forward on Sunday. Friday, even though we had the lead in that game, I just thought the entire game, not from an execution and puck place, I just didn't feel like we weren't. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Was it an effort thing? Was it an effort thing?
No, it's not effort. It's more of just mentally being completely engaged. Like, the work for our group, we, for the most part, I give them a lot of credit. Like, we compete hard and we work, and we make the opposition have to earn what they get. But when we're not mentally engaged and making reads and communicating and flying on and off the bench, It's just a mental thing. We have to be in it every second of every game. That's the way our team has success. And so,
also dumb
hard.
penalties, right?
Yeah, they're just it wasn't good, and so it's a grind. This league, and as you guys know, 82 games, travel. That was the end of a 3-4 where we'd gone to Pitt, played at home against New Jersey, day off, then play Carolina, like 3 really good teams, and it's hard, but. Winning in this league and being a playoff team is hard, and so that's what it takes every single night especially for us, that can't, we just can't cruise through games, and so that was a good lesson for us on Friday. Guys did a real good job of responding on Sunday, and now that just has to be as consistent as we possibly can, especially coming in these last 3 months, as it's going to be a fight to the finish here.
But let me ask you kind of an introspective kind of question. When we have you on every week, and it's awesome, and I watch you, from afar, and I go, this guy's a stud. This guy's going to be a great coach for a long time.
And he's
I'll be honest.
He's a fiery guy.
I know, and you look so pissed off, but you also look so clean and well-shaped, like well-groomed, unlike us. How comfortable are you in your own skin as a head coach in the NHL? Right?
Even though
you're
around.
Yeah, like a younger guy, like, you got all these veterans. Here you are in the grind. You know what I mean? Like, are you fully comfortable in your own skin right now? And like, this is you, this is your identity, and you got no problem laying into Tom Wilson if you have to, or saying something to Ovi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just I try to be myself. And sometimes it works out well. Other times I look foolish, and I try to I just try to be myself. And the one thing that I've always just believe in, and it's probably the core of who I am as a person and who I am as a coach, is put other people in front of yourself. So care about genuine humans and other people, and whether that's Tom Wilson or whether that's our Zamboni driver here at MedStar, care about other people and think about other people. And so when you're being yourself and honest, or you got to talk to Tom Wilson, or you got to give a difficult message to as long as they know it's coming from a place of love and that I care about them and I want to see them be successful and I want our team to be successful, I find that people are okay with difficult messages, and sometimes, it being uncomfortable, but they go, well, Carbs genuinely cares about my well-being, so he's telling me this because he wants me to see the best, and he wants me to be my best.
So I appreciate that. And so when you come off a game like that Carolina game, because my daughter was actually at that game also, so I was keenly watching that game.
Tell her I apologize.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
A lot of apologizing, Coach.
Actually, it might have been my son at that one.
It was your son.
It was my son. Yeah. So when you get back in the locker room after a game like that where it just kind of falls apart, what is your response? Like, do you go nuts? Do you kick a cooler?
So normally I need to take a timeout and just I don't. When we lose, I've always had a policy, a self-instituted policy of not addressing the team, because I learned very early on you can't take back things that you say in those moments.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I've always tried to be very well articulated and thought out. And so sometimes when you go through those games and then you go back through the film, I found early on, I was like, it actually wasn't the way that I thought it was, and I said X, Y, Z.
Right.
And now you're backpedaling. So I've always felt like, okay, just relax. Things didn't go well tonight. Look at the film, and then deliver a message of, hey, this wasn't good at all. Here's why. This is unacceptable. Or maybe, you know what, guys, it wasn't as bad as the score showed. The other night is one of the exceptions where sometimes when things don't go your way, or when they go well, I'll always talk to the team after we win, but sometimes when they don't go well and we lose, it's important to deliver a message. Sometimes it's, hey, we lost tonight. Love what we did tonight. Love all the things. Process was right. Just didn't happen for us on the scoreboard. Continue to do those things, and we'll get results. See you later. Enjoy your day off. We'll see you at practice tomorrow, whatever it is. last game was a little bit of a different message that I felt need to be delivered, and I'll leave it at that.
I would agree. All right, last thing before we let you go. Two of the hottest teams in the league are Edmonton, who've won 8 straight, and your next opponent,
The Kraken.
the Crackers.
Yep.
You play Seattle tomorrow, who've won 7 straight. So talk to me about Seattle. Why are they so, you know how hard it is to win 7 straight games in the hockey. I mean,
And the Kraken's goalie's been on fire, too. Decord's been just lights out.
Yeah, and so he, I think they've got points in 11 straight too. So I watched a bit of last night against Buffalo, and you know what's funny about their goaltender? Not funny, but ironic is Joey Decord is the goaltender that now has sort of hit his stride. Grubauer, who we all know is banged up for them. So Joey Decord comes up from the HL. He's the goalie that the Hershey Bears played in the Calder Cup finals last year. It was Hunter Shepard versus Joey Decord for Coachella Valley, which was a battle that I watched the series, and so it's we know a lot about him. He's done a phenomenal job in the minors and now has stepped in at the NHL level and played really well. They're a really the best probably way to describe them is I feel like they're very well-rounded, like top to bottom. Consistent through 4 lines, 6D. There's not a lot of weaknesses. It's just steady from everywhere inside of their lineup, and they're getting excellent goaltending, so that makes for a dangerous opponent, and you can see why they're having so much success.
Coach, best of luck. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Coach.